I'll be listing out a video on my truck. This is a video on my dad's new Subaru. Project, I should say, because it needs a motor. Basically, a lot of people, I don't know how many people are over 16 and drive, but if anyone's got a Subaru, this is a Forester. This is the same thing as on the Outbacks as you see down there. Not that car, but that car right there. Got another Forester right there. So yeah, this is basically on all Subarus, same thing, same concept. A lot of people that buy Subarus with blown motors, blown transmissions, blown rear ends, rusted out subframes, bad brake lines, whatever you get them with, and you won't be able to drive them home. You probably might have a two-wheel car trailer, but you probably won't have the trailer to put the whole car on it, and you're probably thinking it's all-wheel drive. How am I supposed to put the whole car on it? Well, here's your lucky day. A lot of people probably already know this. For those who don't, I'm going to be making the video. Basically, on the Outbacks, we've noticed that you don't have to disconnect anything. You could just load it up and go on two wheels. On the Foresters, you can load it up and go on two wheels, and you'll drive, and it'll be fine until about a quarter mile down the road. The back wheels will lock up because it is all-wheel drive. The back tires will lock up, which happened on the first few Subarus that we did till we found this trick. So basically, I'm not going to use the creeper or else you guys won't be able to see anything. I would have liked to bring the jack up higher, but I put the jack in a bad spot on the rear end on an angle, so I had to use a jack stand, and now it's not that high. But basically, what you guys can do to tow it on two wheels is just disconnect the drive shaft. A lot of you probably don't even know where it is on Subarus. It's usually the same. Basically, the drive shaft is held on by a 12mm bolt, 12mm nut, and a lock washer. And I will show you the only tool you will need when you're doing this job. Let me get under the car now. This Subaru itself has a head gasket issue. It's got water in the oil. You can see it just leaked oil out of the it just leaked coolant out of the exhaust because the radiator exploded. So basically, here's the drive shaft. Let me just put down those bolts I was showing you. Drive shaft goes from the back of the transmission all the way back, then goes into another part, which is right there. Comes all the way back through this plate, which you don't have to remove, all the way back here to where it meets up with the rear end, I should say. Basically, I already took the liberty of taking out all four bolts. The only downside of disconnecting the drive shaft, if you're towing it on two wheels, is that when you bring it down and you try to drive it, the drive shaft will hit the rear end. It's going to be making noise. To move it around up and down the driveway is okay. You just got to take it like 2 miles an hour. But if it's easy for you, just jack it back up and put the drive shaft back together. So basically, there's four. I just kept them apart since they're going to be going right back, but I always put them together like I did here. I had to do this freaking at midnight last night because we found the car for a good deal. So my dad's like, alright, let's hop in the truck. I said, why not? Basically, our van blew, so we're using my dad's truck for towing. But basically, here's 12mm bolt, and here's the nut, and here's the washer. Here's the order that it all goes on. Basically, the bolt is going to go right through the back, as you can see, just like that. You get your lock washer. Put the lock washer on top of the bolt. Then you get the nut, and put the nut on. Basically, it's just a regular concept. Let me just tighten this down a little bit. Regular concept about putting a nut and bolt through pretty much anything that you're building. Or anything that you got to put back together if it has a nut and a bolt. Shit. I don't know why it's taking me so long. Alright, there might be two parts of this video. So basically, that's what it should look like on, except you gotta torque it. Basically, my dad's, all my 12mm, because I have like 50 of them just in case they strip, they're all on the back of my dad's truck since that's our tow truck, so I'm using a 13mm. And it still works, just you can't torque them. So basically, even when they're drastically tight, I will show you right now. Alright, basically, yeah. So even when they're drastically tight, you don't need a holder from the back because since it's got a nut, it hits on the flat edge of the drive shaft. Right over here, the flat edge of the bolt hits the drive shaft yoke. I think that's what it's called, yeah. And therefore, all you will need is a 12mm to take it out. Sometimes you might want to get two of them, or a 12 and a 14 to double them up so you can get some torque on it to take it off. So basically, right now I'm going to be taking this nut back off to show you guys how you're supposed to disconnect the drive shaft. A lot of people think you got to go drastic and take it all the way out. You do not have to, because that's a bitch to do. It's a big pain in the ass, especially when you're in the middle of the road like I was last night. 14 years old. Anyway, so basically, here's the drive shaft. That's where it hooks up. So basically, when you got all the bolts out, just pull on the drive shaft, and that's not enough, but basically, let me just get this thing to focus. Basically, all you need is about that much room. So all you gotta do is get the drive shaft with your hand and pull it back a little bit and kind of hold it for a second. And then that's about it. All it needs to be is just separated this ring from the housing, and then that's it. Now, as you can see, the whole rear end's going to twist freely, but it's not trying to move the rear end at the front end at the same time. So therefore, now the Subaru is also two-wheel drive. So there you go. Now you just follow the same steps as it is to unbolt it, to put it back together. Therefore, you have an all-wheel drive Subaru again. Also, there's another trick I'd like to show you guys, but I do not suggest it, which is right under the hood. If you guys are in a trap and you guys just have to do it, and you have a little bit of charge in your battery, unlike we did last night, you can do it this way. I highly do not suggest it, but let me just show you. Radiator exploded, antifreeze went everywhere. Basically, take off the fuse box. That little fuse spot right there where there's no fuse. Grab the 30 amp fuse right there, plug it into there, and then turn the key on and start the car, or just turn the key on. You're going to see a light. I'll see if I can bring it up without putting in that fuse. Alright, I guess not. But anyway, there's supposed to be a light, and it's going to say two-wheel drive. Basically, you plug in that fuse right over there in the top left, and then you can make your Subaru a two-wheel drive car. A lot of people say you can do that to save gas. The reason why I do not suggest it is because the 2 times that we did that and towed it home, a couple weeks later the tranny blew. It could have just been a coincidence. I do not think so. So basically, disconnecting your drive shaft would be your best option. It takes, if you know what you're doing like me, if you have a jack, like 5-10 minutes max. I had the drive shaft out, we loaded the car up, and we were good to go. But basically, that's all you're going to have to do to make your Subaru a two-wheel drive car. There you go. Talk to you guys later.